Hello everybody, James teacher here from Jool, and we're looking at vocabulary practice 5.1, which is all about solving problems because we're in our problem solving book. And the problem we're going to solve today is basically the first word. We're going to be talking about solving global warming, which is quite a frightful problem that needs to be solved. So we've got some vocabulary to go through. First of all, global, all over the world, easy peasy. So global warming is affecting everybody. It is a global problem. It's all over the world. And one of the biggest causes of global warming is, of course, air pollution. Now, we could say smoke, for example. We could say gas, but that's not really very accurate. We need to talk about air pollution. The stuff that comes out of a car is air pollution. So if you see a little car driving down the street, oh my goodness, this is a terrible car. Let's give it a little roof right there and a little dude in the middle driving the car. There we go. Oh my goodness. Let's give it monster truck wheels. Why not? In fact, let's just turn it into a monster truck. Okay, there we go. And we've got some flames coming out of it because it is a monster truck and it should be illegal. Anyway, so now we have this polluting monster truck that's driving around, and you can see, something's coming out the back of it. Some air pollution is coming out of the back of it. Why? Because in the front of all cars, combustion engine cars, there is some oil, and the oil or the gasoline is being burnt. So the smoke is basically showing the chemical reaction of the oil being burned. So next time you're in a car, remember there is a tiny fire burning in the front of it. So we have air pollution. Now, the problem is we need to do something about it. We need to tackle it. We need to take care of this, to fight against air pollution, because otherwise the air we breathe will be poisonous and the temperature will rise. Global warming is because the air pollution is like a blanket around the world. So you can see over here, here's our world, and we have all of this gas, extra CO2, extra methane. So the energy that comes down from the sun, let's draw a tiny, oh my goodness, the sun is not blue, it's yellow. Okay, let's draw a little sun over here. All of the energy that comes down to Earth is supposed to bounce back out into space, but the issue is that it comes down, and now because of all this disgusting gas that we have created, it kind of just bounces like a pinball inside, and the air cannot cool down. The global temperature cannot cool down. That's what global warming essentially is. Now, we have to explore some new ways, some new ideas to stop global warming. We could just completely blow up all of these combustion cars, but we can't do that because that isn't gonna really please Bob. His name is Bob. Oh no, I wrote his name in red. Bob inside his monster truck because he loves his monster truck. You can't just blow up his monster truck. That's so criminal. So we need to do something else. We need to explore some new ideas. Cease is our next word, to stop. So here's the thing, right? Bob is a great example. Your parents, your grandparents, my parents, everybody around the world, we all do things that cause global warming. We should cease those things. We should stop doing those things. My brother should cease eating 95 hamburgers every single day because hamburgers usually contain beef, and beef comes from cows, and cow farms are one of the leading polluters on Earth. But my brother cannot cease eating all of his 95 hamburgers because he loves them too much. And you see, that's the problem, because we consume so much food. We consume resources. Bob consumes petrol inside of his car. My brother consumes beef inside his hamburgers. We are all guilty of consuming resources on our earth. Sustain is our next word right here. To sustain, to continue to live or to go on. Well, we sustain ourselves. How do we sustain ourselves? We sustain ourselves by consuming things. My brother sustains himself by consuming 95 hamburgers. Bob sustains himself by burning fuel to go to the shop to buy pizza, and then he eats the pizza and then lies down on the ground, and then he burps and farts and gets really, really fat. He sustains himself with that pizza. God bless him. We all sustain ourselves. Every living thing sustains itself by eating something, by consuming resources. Organisms is our next word, I should say. Organisms, yes, be careful with the pronunciation. Organisms is our next word. And basically, that's you and me and every living thing on Earth. We can talk about a giant blob, which actually lives in the subatomic world. This blob is called Bob. No, it can't be Bob. We already talked about Bob. This is Blob, the Blob King. And Blob, the Blob King, is the master of all the blobs. And he lives in the subatomic world. Okay, so Blob, the Blob King. A blob is an organism, just like you and I. He needs resources to sustain himself. He is a living thing. Everything is a living thing. They are all organisms. Now, we have our next word, which is exhaust. Exhaust. Now, actually, funnily enough, the thing on the back of Bob's car, if you guys take a look, is an exhaust. That is called an exhaust because something comes out of it. But in this case, we're not talking about to let stuff out. We are talking about using up all of a resource. So if we exhaust all of the vegetables on Earth, all of the trees on Earth, there's going to be nothing left, which is one of our problems because right now we are exhausting the resources of the Amazon rainforest. We are using up the wood. We're chopping it down to create tofu farms, and we're chopping it down to have more beef pasture for cows. Not beef pasture, some pasture for cows. You don't see huge steaks running around eating grass in a field. No, you see cows exhausting the resources of the Amazon rainforest by eating the grass which we've planted when we chop down those trees. Now, our final vocabulary word is to ascertain. To ascertain, to find out or discover. Well, we have to ascertain, we have to explore new ideas, and we have to ascertain how to stop using up all of our stuff, all of our resources. We should not exhaust our resources. Now, if we go down the page, let's do a few of these vocabulary boxes. Well, okay, we've already drawn blob over here, so why don't we start with blob? Well, what should we use for blob? Well, we could say organisms. So if we go over here, we can take a look, and we can write in organisms. Part of speech. Well, what part of speech is an organism? An organism. If you go back to the definition, we have living things. Well, a thing is usually a noun, so we can have a guess and say that organism is a noun. Of course it is. Definition, well, make your own up. A living thing. It's not exactly the same as our other definition, but it doesn't need to be. It needs to be your definition. That's the point of making your definition. You change it to be something that you remember. Now, our image association, well, we have Bob over here. So Blob, the Blob King over here is our organism, and he is speaking to his kingdom. He's sitting on his little squelchy liquid throne over here, and underneath him we have all of Blob's minions who are all below, and they're all worshipping Blob, the Blob King, and his plan is to take over the world, and he's going to start by invading the United Kingdom. So he's just readying his soldiers to slowly invade all of the little tiny blobs and their babies and their weapons. Let's put their arms in the air because they're all shouting in complete fury because they're so annoyed with humans for consuming and exhausting all of the resources and threatening their organism, threatening their species. There we go, all of the little tiny arms in the air. Total blob. Okay, so let's drop a little sentence in here. Oh no, all of the little minions have got in the way of our sentence. So let's delete these little organisms. I'm very sorry, blobbies, little blobites. So let's have a little sentence right here. So what is Blob, the Blob King, doing? Well, let me get my pencil, of course. Blob is preparing to protect all of his blob organisms slash his minions. Okay, so all of the little tiny blobs, all of those little tiny organisms. Blob, the Blob King, is preparing to protect them. Now let's get another vocabulary word. What should we pick? Well, how about cease? well, let's think about this. To stop doing something. So, okay, so we know it's a verb. So let's put in our part of speech first. Okay, so it is a verb down here. And the word is cease. To stop. Easy peasy. What can we cease? What do we cease doing? Well, we can cease to be alive, but that sounds like quite a sad tale that we won't tell in this video. But we can cease driving, or we can cease eating too much. So let's have somebody with a huge belly who is eating too much. What's his name? Let's see. Oh my goodness, he feels so sick because he ate so much food. Let's give him some clothes because we don't want a naked stick figure in this kind of video. Okay, so there's his huge thing. Okay, and he's lying on the ground and he has some pizza boxes. He had so many pizza boxes. He had 5 pizzas. Let's draw 5 pizza boxes. Okay, my goodness, he really needs to cease this. So his mom comes along, and his mom is so beautiful. And she said, "You little runt, you should cease eating so much pizza." Oh, she looks pretty tough. There's her finger. Okay, she's pointing at him. Poor boy. He just wanted a bit of pizza, and he ate 5 pizza boxes, and his mom saying, "Cease." And she's mean, so she said, "You fool," which you shouldn't say to anybody. "Cease, you fool." Okay, right, there's our little situation. The mum, or the mother, told her extremely hungry son to cease eating pizza. There we go. Fantastic. To cease eating pizza. Well, why should the boy cease eating pizza? Well, simply because he's overeating. One of the biggest problems we have on earth is that we overeat. We consume too many resources and too much of things. And we really are causing so many problems. We have to cease doing stuff that we don't need to do. So you guys can finish off your vocabulary square with some more examples. We've already used cease and organisms. I hope your drawings are better than my drawings because I'm useless at drawing, but that's not the point. The point is you have to be creative. Use it, turn it into stories, turn it into something interesting, and have a great time. And I'll see you next time for 5.2.